accused of killing and torturing 31-year-old Maleesa Mooney was found bound and stuffed inside the refrigerator.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and if you're new here, we talk about all things true crime related. I like to cover newer cases, older cases, unsolved, solved, multiple parts sometimes, serial killer. It all depends on where the video takes us. I also like to follow cases that are going through the trial process, so I will go over updates on those from time to time. And if this is something you would also like, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. I don't really have a schedule due to how busy I am, unfortunately, working full time and all that junk. But as I'm sure you can see by today's thumbnail, we are going to be discussing some ongoing cases that are making their way through the court systems. First, I want to jump right into an update on Maleesa Mooney's case, which is out of Los Angeles, California. I covered that back in October, I think. I will put the video in right here that covers some of the details surrounding her death. But for a quick recap, if you don't want to jump out, jump back in, or you can catch that video later. Maleesa was a 31-year-old aspiring model and real estate agent who was reported missing by her family on September 12, 2023, after they couldn't get in contact with her. Now, this report would prompt police to head to her apartment and conduct a welfare check. After entering her home, she was discovered in her refrigerator, and police knew that this wasn't, obviously she was in a refrigerator, but her hands and her wrists were bound together, and she had a clothing item, I think it was like a pink sweater, over her face as what appeared to be some sort of blindfold. The medical examiner would not be able to figure out Maleesa's exact cause of death, but due to the blunt force trauma wounds to her head and other areas of her body, her death was ruled a result of homicidal violence. Now, when I covered her case, there wasn't really anything being released about a suspect or anything that they indicated that they knew who could have done this. But recently, it was announced that 41-year-old Magnus Daniel Humphrey was arrested in Hopkins, Minnesota. He was actually arrested in the beginning of November 2023 due to an unrelated issue with a drug warrant back out of Minnesota. Now, Magnus has a long criminal history, which includes multiple battery charges, although I know at least one of those was dropped. He was also arrested and has a long history on drug charges, which has landed him on probation. Now, the district attorney for Los Angeles filed charges against Magnus for 1 count of murder and 1 count of torture back on December 6th. But the announcement of his arrest was not released until he's extradited back to Los Angeles. He would be in court shortly after he was extradited, where he would plead not guilty to both charges and is currently being held without bond. The LA County DA would say in his statement released about the recent arrest that Magnus had been staying with Mooney at the time of her death, but he did not go into details about what type of relationship they had. Was it platonic? Was it more than platonic? Was she helping him out and he took advantage of her? Was it a lover's quarrel that went wrong? We didn't get too many details. He did say that Maleesa was tortured leading up to her death. And to hear that by someone that she trusted and allowed to stay with her is just heartbreaking. Now, he's set to be in court again March 7th, which is tomorrow. I'm recording this on March 6th. I tried to record this video last night. I had no sound through the whole thing. I forgot to turn my mic on. Looks good now. I'm not sure how much will actually take place tomorrow on March 7th. I'm sure he's appointed a lawyer if he already hasn't. They'll go through a little of the process, set some hearings maybe. I feel like this is the beginning of a longer case. It all depends on the court systems, but I will keep you updated as this case goes through the justice system. All right, next, let's head to Surreal, Oklahoma, and an update in the Athena Brownfield case. I've been covering this one in my last video, I believe, or one of my last videos. It's been an ongoing case for about a year now. I've been updating since. Her sister was found wandering around by a mail carrier on January 10th, I believe it was, of 2023. When her sister was found, it came to attention that no one knew where Athena was. So police did some investigating, and it came to light that Athena's mother, Jasmine Brownfield, was fighting an addiction. So she left her 2 daughters with her cousin, Alicia, and her cousin's husband, Ivan. So they found the sister walking around and they can't find Athena. Where the fuck are Alicia and Ivan? Well, it looks like Ivan's in Arizona off with the couple's they have 4 biological children together. He was found in Arizona, and apparently he and Alicia had a separation because she was found with a new boyfriend. She was posting pictures, living her best life, looking super fucking happy. But thankfully, both were arrested and Ivan would be extradited back to Oklahoma. Police would obtain a statement from Alicia where she would express that Ivan was the one that assaulted Athena on Christmas Day and that Athena's death was due to a violent assault from Ivan. I don't want to go into much detail about this because it's heartbreaking and it's not fucking true. But Alicia said that once Athena stopped breathing, that Ivan would take her to a rural area and bury her in a shallow grave. So with this information, Ivan was charged with first-degree M-word. YouTube does not like those words, so I'm trying to abide by it. And Alicia was originally charged with 2 counts of child neglect. But police would learn during the autopsy that Athena's cause of death was not blunt force trauma injuries. There actually wasn't any of those found during the exam. The medical examiner listed the cause of death as acute pneumonia complicating malnutrition and ruled the death a homicide. So basically, they starved this little girl. Like, she was only 23 pounds, and that's what makes me so mad. This bitch had the nerve to go into detail, horrific detail, about how her husband ended the life of this little girl, and it wasn't even true. Like that. So, police would take this information, and I'm sure other information that they found during their investigation, and would change the charges up a little bit. Ivan would be downgraded to second-degree M-word, and Alicia would be upgraded to first-degree M-word. Finally, now we get to the actual update that I haven't covered yet, and that is that the Cato County DA filed a motion recommending the death penalty for Alicia, stating that Athena's death was heinous and cruel. I'm not all for the death penalty. We don't need to get into that here. I'm just saying that I really don't like this bitch at all, and she definitely deserves the worst out of 2, it sounds. But these trials are pretty far out, I would assume, for the most case, just because charges were just changed. They just decided that they just released the intent to seek the death penalty, it sounds. So it seems like they may be further out than some of the other cases we cover, but I will keep you updated. Now, switching gears, I just want to mention, I guess, or remind everybody that Cory Bigsby's trial for the death of his 4-year-old son, Cody, has started on March 4th. It's expected to only last until the 8th, so maybe by the time this is released, it all depends how long it takes for editing. Hopefully I get this out later today. Again, March 6th. We'll see. But maybe by the time it's released, there'll be an outcome, depending. Monday and Tuesday were spent finding a jury, and then the remaining few days we'll hear the evidence against him. And I'm not sure what kind of case the defense will put on, but it was reported that Cody's mother and his slightly older brother, who is now 7, at the time of Cody's death, he was 5, who's now 7, will be testifying. I'm going to try and follow this case. I've been catching as much as I can of the Hannah Gutierrez Reed trial, just because I find trials interesting and enjoy watching. I don't know if enjoy, but I like to listen to how they play out because I find the justice system interesting. But I will keep you updated as this case progresses. For a real quick recap on this, I'm going to go ahead and pop my video that I made on this prior in right here. But Cory reported his son missing in Virginia Beach back in January of 2022. However, after the police investigated, they believe that Cody was actually killed before he was reported missing, like all the way back in June of 2021 is what they are indicating they believe right now. Now, Cory was released on bond back on June 22nd, and this decision was appealed by the district attorney recently, stating that Cory had a history of going AWOL while he was in the military. But a 3-panel judge decided that he should be allowed to stay out on bond, citing that he has no previous criminal history and that he had no issues attending court so far. So he is currently on bond, as far as I know, reporting to his trial. He does have some restrictions, like he's on house arrest, basically. He's being monitored and only can leave for doctor's appointments, meetings with his attorney, or, of course, court. And he obviously cannot have any contact with his children, except for a daughter that he's staying with, but I would assume she's older if he's staying with her. His other children that he had with Cody's mother were 5, 4, and then they had 2-year-old twins together. So that's all I have on the updates right now. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and be safe out there, guys. This world is an ugly place.